What is going on, guys? BDJ Gaming here. Welcome back. We're going to be starting the AL Central today, and we're going to be starting with the Chicago White Sox, a team that's in a rebuild. They still have some interesting names like Luis Robert and Garrett Crochet, but they're really not trying to compete. I got 3 seasons to try to get this team to at least a playoff run. I'm not expecting a World Series. I've only won one World Series, I believe, in franchise, and it's been the Milwaukee Brewers. That's the only team I've won a World Series with. Not had the best of luck. My last video was the Blue Jays. Go check that out. Didn't have the best of luck there. Maybe this team gives me better luck. But let's take a look at the roster. Garrett Crochet, going to be our ace. Definitely a guy you can build around. He's only 24. Got him signed for the rest of the franchise, so really he's just going to be a guy who's in our rotation for the long term. Mike Clevenger, they signed to a 1-year, $12 million deal. Maybe we trade him. Have to see how he's performing. Eric Fetty, a guy they signed, I think, from Korea. $7.5 million per year for 2 years. Not really a bad deal at all, and he's really reinvented it and really came back and has had better pitches and better stuff. Jake Woodford, former Cardinal, was with them for several years. Just never really had a consistent role, and when he did, it was up and down. He went from bullpen to starter to minor leagues. It just never really worked. So, I mean, maybe he's like a long relief pitcher for us. They got Chris Flexen, who's not really been consistent at the major league level. Had a good 2021 and 2022, but after that, it's just not been great. Chad Kuhl, guy with experience. Then you got Tuki Toussaint, former Braves prospect. They do got some interesting like A potential prospect in Drew Thorpe, and they got some B potentials with Jonathan Cannon, D.V. Garcia, and after that it's just C's and D's. Bullpen, you got John Brebbia, the veteran, who's coming off a pretty solid year with the Giants. Was really good in 2022. Steve Wilson, Tanner Banks, Joe Bartlow, and you got Justin Anderson, Jared Schuster. Like, you got some interesting names. Nobody really jumps off the page like, man, it's going to be our best reliever. Michael Kopech, who will probably end up getting moved, been up and down his major league career. Really just had command problems and walks, and he's got electric stuff when he's right. I think the White Sox are going to end up trading him, and teams are probably going to be very intrigued because he's still only 27. Teams are going to look at this guy like, okay, maybe we can turn this guy around and get him, being electric and lights out and get his command under control. But he'll be our closer. Max Stassi, the catcher. Corey Lee, who they got from the Astros, who could be a very interesting prospect, or was a prospect, I should say. Martin Maldonado, another former Astro, just a veteran to have, never really hit at the major league level for average, but hit some home runs with the Astros. So catching is definitely going to be something we have to look at unless Corey Lee takes over. Gavin Sheets at first base, a guy with a little bit of pop, has shown a little bit at the major league level, not nothing consistent. They got Jared Walsh, a guy who in 2021 he was, hitting bombs and he had that injury, and don't really think he's been the same since. Andrew Vaughn, a guy they're high on as well. 21 home runs last year and 80 driven in. I'm not really sure why he's a 64 overall, but definitely a guy who can still make an impact. Nicky Lopez, second base, can't really expect him to hit a lot. Excuse me. Can't really expect him to hit a lot, but he has Gold Glove defense. Not really any second base prospects. Third base, you got Yohan Moncada. Really, Moncada hasn't lived up to the hype I think a lot of fans really expected when he got traded there in the Chris Sale deal. I kind of expected more. Like, he's had some solid seasons, but the hype he had coming out of the Red Sox organization, you would think this guy was going to be one of the best third basemen in the league. It just hasn't really worked out. And then you got Danny Mendick, and then, the White Sox, really besides Colson Montgomery, they don't have a lot of guys, and Andrew Vaughn, if you count him, that really, you look at and you go, yeah, this could be somebody to look forward to coming up to the minor leagues position player-wise. They do got Paul DeYoung. DeYoung just really hasn't worked out. Again, another former Cardinal. Had some good seasons, 2017 to 2019. He was unbelievable as a shortstop, giving power, Gold Glove defense, still can defend. Maybe he finds a swing again. They trade him at the deadline. Colson Montgomery is who we're really looking for to make an impact, though. And maybe we trade DeYoung at the deadline, give Colson Montgomery, the second half of the season to get that major league experience, because he's definitely a guy who's going to be a stud. Left foot, you got Tommy Pham. We're going to look to move him. He's going to drop off in overall. Eloy Jimenez, another guy who just has had trouble staying healthy. If he stays healthy, he can do what he did in 2019, 31 home runs, 79 ribbies. He just hasn't really been able to stay on the field for a consistent period of time, especially from 2020 to 2022. Obviously, 2020 was a shortened season, so I guess I shouldn't count that. But like, just got to stay healthy. Andrew Benintendi, I think that's a contract they regret. Still got him for 4 seasons. I mean, he's never really been a power guy, but I think they were hoping he replicated what he did in like 2019. I mean, 2017 through 2021. I mean, can't, pretty much exclude 2020. He was really good for a 4-year period. Center field, you got luisrobert. Don't got to worry about that. And then right field, you got Dominic Fletcher, a guy who had a pretty solid year last year in 28 games. So a lot of work to do on this team. A lot of work. And it's going to take a lot of trades. Like I said, a lot of free agent signings. Not anybody major because the White Sox never really spend a ton of money. So it's going to be a tough team. I don't know how this is going to go. I ain't going to lie to y'all, but I think the first season is going to be more of a fill-out process. We're going to see what trades we get. Maybe if somebody's available that can help us, for like a good deal, not really anybody's going to cost a ton of money, I'll make that trade. So going to go ahead and get this season going. I'll see you guys at the trade deadline. The first trade we're going to make, Orioles offered us a deal. Jorge Mateo, who's on a cheaper contract, really having an excellent season so far. Obviously limited games, 9 for 23. But we're going to get off Yohan Moncada's contract, open up some cap space, so we have a little bit more to spend in the future. The team I just tried to win with, the Toronto Blue Jays, are offering us Nate Pearson for Matt Barnes. We signed him for agency. Both having very rough starts to the season. Nate Pearson is 6 years younger, a little bit more, not even a little bit more, a lot more upside, so we're going to accept this. Another trade we're about to do, we're going to get Hunter Harvey from the Nationals. They offered us this trade for Tommy Pham, who's 36, free agent to be, having a solid season, but not anything spectacular, so we get a reliever for the next 2 seasons. Trade we're about to make that we got offered, Chris Paddock, who's 28, still got another year until free agency after this one. He's having a solid season, 5-4, 3.30 ERA for Eric Fetty, who is 3 years younger, having a great season as well. Got him signed for the same amount of time, but Chris Paddock's got tons more upside. We're going to trade Nicky Lopez to the Dodgers for Dylan Campbell, who 21, 63 overall, might not lead to much in this franchise, but better to get something than nothing. Deadline 39-71. We are not going to sniff the playoffs. No chance in that happening. Let's see how everybody's been performing and why we've been so bad. Jorge Mateo, I'll take that. 9 home runs, 37 RBIs, 256 average. He's getting on base at a solid clip. Slugging is career high, so he's been making an impact. Colson Montgomery ended up calling up after the Nicky Lopez deal. Going to give him the rest of the season. Hopefully his overall starts to go up. He gets that major league experience. He's ready to go to be our shortstop next season. Luis Roberts having an awesome season so far. 20 home runs, 57 RBIs, 252 average, slugging 487. Slugging down just a little bit from last year, but still has 20 home runs. And Eloy Jimenez has stayed healthy. He's going to have probably his best season, and he's going to have his best season since 2019. He might even surpass that season if he keeps it up, especially RBI-wise. So that's very encouraging. Gavin Sheets, numbers aren't great, but he's going to have a career year, so he's continually to slowly get better. Paul DeYoung hasn't done too much, 7 home runs, 31 ribbies. Dominic Fletcher's hitting for good average, 314. Might have to consider moving him up to the leadoff spot eventually because, he's a guy who hits for average. Andrew Benintendi, not horrible numbers for Andrew, but for the money he's making, $15 million a year, you expect a little bit more. He has been hurt a little bit. And then Corey Lee, 8 home runs, which he's not a power guy, so that's good to see. But other than that, not too much impressive stat line. And you look at the bench, Oscar Colas, who we called up, 1 home run, 3 RBIs, 187 average, not really done too much. Andrew Vaughn, a limited role, has done pretty well, 280 average, 3 home runs, 15 RBIs. Brian Ramos, who's dealing with a pulled leg muscle, has put up solid numbers as well in a limited time. And then Martin Maldonado, 56 overall, 186 average. I think it's probably time to hang up the cleats, Martin Maldonado, unfortunately. When we look at the pitching side, Garrett Crochet, not great so far, 4.60 ERA, 4-7 record. Chris Paddock, we got in a trade, pretty solid numbers, 3.54 ERA, 5-5 record. Mike Clevenger has been awful, 5-10, 5.30 earned run average. Jake Woodford has been atrocious, 6.38 ERA and a 2-13 record. Ouch, that is not good. Then Chris Flexen, a 6.51 ERA. Wow, I see why our team's lost 71 games already. With those 3 in the rotation with ERAs over 5, and you got 2 of them with ERAs over 6. Might need to see if we have anybody in the minor leagues to call up and give a shot to, because this obviously ain't working. That is not good. Nick Nastrini, think I'm pronouncing that right. ERA of 8. Yikes, a lot of high ERAs. Nate Pearson's been solid, not great, but he hasn't been like horrible compared to some of these other numbers, 4.80 ERA. Steve Wilson's been encouraging this season, 2.57 ERA. Tanner Banks has been great as well, 2.81 ERA. John Brebbia has just not been good. It's going to be tough to decide whether to bring him back or not. Marcelo Moreno, been awful as well, 6 ERA. Hunter Harvey, who we got in the trade, ERA a little high, but still a doable season. And then Michael Kopech, we had John Brebbia in the closer role, but it was just not going well. He did save 22 games, but high ERA ain't going to get it done. So we ended up moving Michael Kopech, and he's been good so far in that role. So we look at this team. Again, a lot to work on. We need a catcher. We need probably a first baseman, even though Gavin Sheets and Andrew Vaughn have played solid. Second base, we could keep Mateo there, maybe make him a utility guy. Third base, we could use somebody. Shortstop, we got Colson Montgomery. Left field, we got Eloy if we decide to keep him there. Luis Robert, obviously center field. And right field, Dominic Fletcher's play. The outfield, I think, is pretty much set. It's really everywhere besides shortstop that we got to work on. Rotation, we got Crochet and Paddock to look forward to. So I'm going to call up Touki Toussaint. Give him an opportunity because it can't be any worse. I'm going to send down Chris Flexen. He's out of options, but with those numbers, you can't just keep throwing him out there every 5 days. So we're going to give Touki a shot in the rotation, see how he does. We also have Jonathan Kane who's pitching well. We also have D.B. Garcia. So we got some guys who are pitching well we can add to the 40. I'm going to give Jonathan Kane an opportunity and send Woodford down. We just got to give some different guys opportunity. We're not going anywhere this season anyway, so why not give some of these younger guys? Touki Toussaint, obviously 27, not young, but still young enough to get an opportunity. So we'll see how these guys do. I would trade Mike Clevenger, but what are we realistically going to get for him? He has a horrible stat line. I guess I could look for some, but, John Brebbia as well. You're not going to get much for these guys because the numbers are just bad. Paul DeYoung, we could look to move, but his number, everybody we would look to probably trade have bad numbers. We're just going to get probably somebody awful anyways. I guess it's better than nothing, but might just hang on to him, let our contracts expire, and get to work in the off season. So I will see you guys at the end of the season. So end of the first season, obviously 59-103 is not a good record, but figured we'd have a record like that the first season. So let's everybody wrap it up before we start getting to work and trying to get this team at least somewhat competitive for the second season. Jorge Mateo, not great to finish the season. Probably be more of a utility guy next season, more than an everyday player. We'll see, though, who we go out and get. Colson Montgomery didn't really impress in his first, I guess you could say, taste of Major League experience. Not really a full season, but expect him to continue to play every day next season and get better. Luis Robert, 29 home runs, 81 RBIs. Can't be mad at that. Obviously, it wasn't as much power as we saw last year, but still, great season. Eloy Jimenez had an awesome season, 26 home runs, 94 runs batted in, 250 average. Gavin Sheets ended up hitting 24 home runs. Had a huge second half. He had like 10, so that's good to see. So we got 3 guys who are hitting for power. Paul DeYoung ended up finishing with 13 home runs. Second base, definitely something we got to look to get. Dominic Fletcher, average went down a lot in the second half, which sucks. Expected him to have kind of a 300 average this year. Corey Julks ended up making an impact. He only played 91 games, but hit 4 home runs, 42 RBIs. Stole 11 bases, 301 average. Numbers are up across the board. Corey Lee, not really impressive for his first season. Maybe he'd be a backup catcher. He could also play first, third, left, or right, so that's good. And then Andrew Vaughn, not a bad season. Not much power, but hit good average, drove in 22. Zach DeLoach didn't really do too much limited time. We've already talked about how Martin Maldonado did, not a great season. And Andrew Benintendi didn't really have a bad season, just, like I said, not living up to the money he's owed. Let's take a look at the pitching. Garrett Crochet ended up finishing with a solid season, 6-7 record, 3.68 earned run average. Chris Paddock, solid season as well, 7-12, 3.65 earned run average. Jonathan Cannon had a worse ERA than the other two, Woodford and I can't even think of the other guy's name right now. Let me go look. Let me see if I can find him. Chris Flexen, that's who it was. Yeah. He had a worse season than those two guys. Touki Toussaint didn't pitch bad, 4.50 ERA. At least he pitched well. Nate Pearson had a great year. Overall, went up potential one up. So that was a good get for us. Definitely going to be part of our bullpen for the next 2 seasons. Jairo Irate didn't pitch. Steve Wilson had an awesome year. Definitely going to be a key part of our pen next season. Tanner Banks as well had an awesome year at the ERA of 3. John Brebbia didn't have a great year. He's going to be entering free agency. We'll have to see if we can re-sign him or maybe go for another option. Marcelo Moreno, okay season, high ERA. Hunter Harvey, another guy's going to be a big part of our rotation, could potentially be a closer. Justin Anderson didn't have a good year. And then Michael Kopech in the closer role. 5 blown saves, so not really great, but solid ERA. So gonna have to get to work. That's for sure. It's gonna be tough. Let's see who wins the World Series. Orioles defeat the D-backs to win the World Series. Martin Maldonado retired, as we all probably expected. So we gotta work. I'm gonna work on the coaching staff, work on free agency, maybe make some trades, and I will see you guys at the start of the second season. So we're gonna trade for a starter, and I was debating on who to trade for, but we don't really have the prospect capital to get anybody like a Bobby Miller and, some of these other stud pitchers. But Dustin May is still very good. He's only 27 still, coming off an injury. We're going to trade Drew Thorpe, our number 1 pitching prospect. We're going to try to make the playoffs or at least try to compete. We got to try to get more proven starters. Obviously, Dustin May's been hurt a little bit, but he's had major league experience, so we're going to trade for him. We're going to trade Drew Thorpe, Ricardo Brazula, and Christian Opper for Dustin May. About to get the second season going here, and we made some moves. Will they get us to the playoffs the second season? Can't tell you that, but I think we upgraded this team a good amount. We got Garrett Crochet, Dustin May, you guys saw the trade. We got Walker Buehler, so 2 former Dodgers in this rotation. Walker Buehler got on a 1-year, $8 million deal. Then Dustin May, we got in the trade I just showed y'all. Chris Paddock, and then Touki Toussaint will give a shot as the 5th starter. He played pretty decent last year, so we'll see how he does. Jake Woodford we decided to keep around. Maybe he'll turn around. Maybe he can just be a long relief pitcher. Bullpen, pretty much the same. I think our bullpen can get the job done. A lot of guys had good years last year. I also had John Brebbia, and I think maybe another one. We got Michael Kopech. We also got Marcelo Moreno, who's, had an okay year. Maybe he could get better and improve. We signed Gary Sanchez to play catcher. Didn't have a great year last year, but provides a little bit of pop. Maybe a stopgap. Maybe we'll see if we can get anybody in next year's free agency as catchers or a trade. First base, going to give Gavin Sheets another shot. He had 24 home runs last year. Why not? Second base, we ended up signing Gleyber Torres. Not really anything crazy of a deal. Coming off of not really a down year. I mean, I guess down year power-wise, but still had a solid year. 2-year deal. Not really anything crazy. Provides a little bit of power to our lineup. Mateo's going to move over to third base. And then we're going to give Colson Montgomery, obviously, the shortstop. We signed Nick Allen, still only 26. Saw he was a free agent. Glove first guy. Could provide a little bit of glove defense off the bench. Eloy Jimenez in left. Luis Robert in center. And we signed Tyler O'Neill to a 2-year, $12.5 million deal per year. Coming off a really good year. I think him and Luis Robert are going to rake in this lineup. I think it'll provide a little bit more protection besides Eloy Jimenez. So we'll have to see. We'll have to see how this season goes. Let's get to it. So we're going to make a big trade. Pete Alonso, who's on the Dodgers, imagine him on that team. Not sure why they signed him unless they have him DHing. Hasn't played a lot this year. Not sure if they have him on the bench or what the deal is with that. But we need a first baseman. So we're going to trade Ernesto Yaquez, Andrew Vaughn, who still has A potential, still only 27. He had a good year, just not really room to play. He's playing good in AAA. And we're giving them Marcelo Moreno, 25 years old, playing good in AAA. We're going to get our first baseman and probably have Gavin Sheets playing platoon role. I'm going to go ahead and trade for Elehuris Montero from the Orioles. Just going to get rid of Benintendi's contract, open up some cap space. Deadline second one, and we're 5 games back. We're in this division. Even though it's a weak division and nobody's really playing great. I mean, the Guardians are 11 games above 500, but ain't like they're running away with the division. So let's see how everybody's been performing. Let's take a look at the pitching side. Garrett Crochet, not horrible numbers, but for a guy who's considered our ace, could be a lot better numbers. So hopefully he gets it going a little bit in the second half. Dustin May, that trade's worked out smoothly for us. 2.37 earned run average, 10-4 record for Dustin May. Chris Paddock, solid numbers for a number 3 starter, 6-10. Free agent to be, so we'll have to see if we try to re-sign him. Walker Buehler's been awesome, 8-2, 2.7 ERA. So these two right here, Chris Paddock and Walker Buehler, are going to be tough. Are we going to be able to re-sign them both? It's going to be tough, but I mean, maybe we can do it. Jake Woodford, really bounced back this year. For a fifth starter to have a 4.46 ERA, I'll take that every day of the week. I know I say that almost every franchise, like, oh, it's a fifth starter. As long as a fifth starter for me has an ERA under 5, I'll take that. So you look at Tukey, ERA of 5, not great. Nate Pearson, ERA high compared to last year, 4.57 earned run average. John Brebbia definitely bounced back this season. So far, Joe Bartlow hasn't pitched a lot, but he's been good in 4 innings. Tanner Banks has been very reliable for us so far out of the bullpen. Another good season so far. Michael Kopech's been great the last 2 seasons. This year so far, he has a 2.65 ERA. Hunter Harvey definitely could have a better ERA. Not great as we expected. And then Steve Wilson, we ended up putting in the closer role so far this season. 24 out of 28 in save opportunities, 2.08 earned run average. So he's definitely settled into that closer spot. Let's take a look at the lineup. Corey Julks, not having the year I expected average-wise, providing a little bit of pop, though. 8 home runs. He's drove in 34. So if he can get the average up a little bit, I'll be okay with this season for him. Gavin Sheets, power's not been there, but hitting 261. He's DHing right now since we got Pete Alonso at first. Luis Robert, power a little down, which is concerning. I still think he'll probably hit 25 home runs, but definitely a down year compared to last year so far, but maybe he has a big second half. Tyler O'Neill, I mean, how about them numbers? Worth every penny. 25 home runs, 71 RBIs, 274 average slugging, 538. He's getting on base. He's been healthy. Going to be a hell of a year for Tyler O'Neill. Definitely might pass 2021. Pete Alonso has just not been good. One of the few additions that hasn't worked out so far. 3 home runs, 10 RBIs. I know it's only been 21 games with this, or just in total this year, but we got to get him going. Eloy Jimenez, solid year. He's going to give us another good year. Probably going to hit 20 home runs again. I'll take that for sure. Gleyber Torres has been good. The power's not been there really, but 284 average, slugging over 400. Can't be mad at Gleyber for them numbers. Gary Sanchez has been great as well. 14 home runs, 44 RBIs, 260 average. Colson Montgomery, you know, for his first full season, I'll take those numbers. He's hitting 9th. He's not really expected to do a lot offensively in his first full season. So those ain't bad numbers. Corey Lee's been great as a backup catcher. 265 average. He's hit 8 home runs in 48 games. Great numbers. Jorge Mateo not been great. Free agent to be. We'll have to see, you know, what we decide to do with his contract. Nick Allen, not really expecting him to do a lot offensively. More of a guy who just fills in the shorter second or third once or twice a week, gives you good defense off the bench. And then Dominic Fletcher's been a letdown the last 2 seasons. Hopefully he gets it going in the second half, but just the average has not been there for him. So 5 games out, we can make a run. The question is, what do we go out and get? I think the bullpen's definitely something that needs a little work. You know, the starting rotation, I'm really not that mad at. Like, we could go out and get a 5th starter, but Woodford's done a solid job in that role this season. Lineup, we could definitely use another power bat, I do think. But, I mean, we did go out and get Pete Alonso and Tyler O'Neill, guys that's got to produce. I think our lineup's really good overall. Maybe we go out and get a 3rd baseman. So I'm going to look through these trades. I'll let you guys know if we end up making any deals, and I'll see you guys either at the trade page or at the end of the season. I make a trade to upgrade our bullpen. We're going to trade John Brebbia to the Marlins for A.J. Puck, who's having a really good year. Brebbia's not having a horrible year either, so I think this is a pretty even trade for both sides. The Marlins get a veteran in their bullpen, and we get a guy we can have for another season after this, and he's having a really good year. Season is done. We end up making the playoffs as a wild card team with that 80-82 record. Definitely a very weak American League if we made the wild card with that record, but I will take it. We're in the playoffs. I did not expect to make the playoffs at all with this White Sox team, not going to lie to y'all. Didn't make it once with the Blue Jays, but make it at least once with the White Sox. It's crazy. So let's see what everybody did. Let's take a look at the pitching. Garrett Crochet, 17 wins. ERA a little high, but you know what? Not a bad season overall. Dustin May was awesome. 3.04 ERA. Struck out 153 hitters, 12-7 record. Chris Paddock gave us an awesome season as well. 3.50 ERA, 9-14. I shouldn't say awesome, but very solid season. Walker Buehler, solid season for him. 11-6, 3.29 ERA. I think we end up having an injury to Jake Woodford, so we have to put Touki Toussaint in there as a 5th starter, which, you know, that ain't the worst thing in the world. Nate Pearson, down year overall compared to last year. Jonathan Cannon did not have a good year. A.J. Puck, ERA went up pretty much over 1 with his time here, so not a good White Sox tenure so far. Joe Bartlow was great. Limited innings, but 1.93 ERA looks good on the baseball card. Tanner Banks, another good season. ERA a little higher, but still a great season. Michael Kopech, going to be a free agent. It's going to be tough to decide whether to re-sign him, but the numbers he's putting up might have to consider it. Hunter Harvey, another guy who's hitting free agency. Great season overall. And then Steve Wilson had a little bit of a bad second half, but still saved 33 games. So not too bad overall. Jorge Mateo, 9 home runs, 37 RBIs, 239 average. Not the most impressive numbers in the world, but he's been, a solid contributor in that utility role. Corey Jokes, 13 home runs, 55 RBIs, 240 average for Corey. Luis Robert had a better second half, finishes with 26 home runs, 72 ribbies. Tyler O'Neill was awesome. Expecting to have kind of a bigger second half, but still had a great season when you look at the baseball card. 30 home runs, 91 runs driven in, a career high, and gave good average as well. Gavin Sheets gave us another good year in that DH role. 21 home runs, 60 RBIs. Great season for Gavin. Pete Alonso just couldn't get it going, just didn't click at the plate. Maybe next year he helps us, because right now it has not been a good tenure for him. Gleyber Torres gave us a solid year overall. Not much power, but good average. On base was higher than last year, and same with slugging, so he had a better year than last year besides the RBIs. Gary Sanchez gave us 19 home runs. I didn't think he was going to give us that much production when he came off only a 9 home run season, but he played every day and gave us good production. Colson Montgomery could be a little bit better, but for his first full season and hit ninth, I'll take that. Zach DeLoach gave us solid numbers, 2 for 7 at the plate. Corey Lee gave us 10 home runs off the bench, the backup catcher. You don't see that very often. Dominic Fletcher did not have a good year. And Eloy Jimenez is on the bench, 16 home runs. I'm surprised Eloy is on the bench. That is surprising to me. See, might have to move Eloy to center field, or maybe move O'Neill to center field, because I don't really want Eloy on the bench. He had a good year. I know Mateo played well, but that is tough. So we might have to put Eloy in left and put Tyler O'Neill in center. Or we could put Luis Robert in center. Yeah, let's put Luis Robert in center. My bad, y'all. Okay, we're good. So time for the playoffs. Here we go. Baltimore Orioles. This ought to be a fun first-round series. Us against a team like the Orioles. Kyle Bradish on the mound. We got our ace Garrett Crochet on the mound. Let's see if we can upset the Orioles here. Strikeout, strikeout, single, strikeout. So 1, 2, 3 inning. 2 on, 2 out. We ground out. Garrett Crochet rolling so far. O'Neill. Walk, single, strike. A 3-run bomb by Abreu, and it's 3-0 Orioles. That is not a good start for Crochet. He's just cruising to the 3rd inning. Kyle Bradish is shutting us down so far. 2 more runs score. It's time to take Garrett out. Let's put in Nate Pearson here. 5-0 Orioles. Our offense has just not been getting going here. 2-run bomb by Austin Hayden. This game's been made wide open now. It is not looking good. So we go to the bullpen again. We're going to bring in Joe Bartlow here. 1, 2, 3 inning. Yeah, our offense just not looking good. So we're going to bring in Jonathan Cannon, see if he can give us some innings here to close it out. Walk, walk. 1 scores thanks to Pete Alonso. They bring in Dylan Tate. Fly out, fly out. Run scores thanks to Colson Montgomery, but we ain't getting enough offense to get back in this game. So the Orioles are 1 game away from taking us out early. Hopefully our offense gets a little bit waking up here. We got Dustin May on the mound. Here we go against Grayson Rodriguez. 2 on, 2 out, pop up. Dustin May was not even arguably, he was our best starter all season. So hopefully he has a good performance here against the Orioles. Walk, single, fly out, strikeout, strikeout. So we've had some runners on base. Just can't get anybody home so far. Dustin May gives up a 2-run bomb to Nolan Arenado in a Baltimore Orioles jersey. That's different. So can we get this game tied? We don't. There's a solo shot by Gavin Sheets. Finally some encouraging signs. Dustin May, 2 walks, 1 more pitch. Line out. So 6 strong innings for Dustin May. They bring in Danny Colomé. Fly out, strikeout, single, fly out. If Dustin May keeps cruising, there's an error and a single. Okay, he was cruising to that error. So we're going to bring in Michael Kopech. and he strikes out. So top of the 8th, Yener Cano in the pitch, single by Luis Robert, Tyler O'Neill with a single, Gavin Sheets with a walk, Pete Alonso with a pop-up, sac fly by Gleyber Torres ties the game. They bring in Keegan Aiken and he strikes out. So Michael Kopech gives up a solo shot to Adley. That is tough. And the Orioles take the lead. So season on the line, Colson Montgomery against Felix Bautista, single. Eloy Jimenez double play and a flyout by Corey Julks, and we have been eliminated in the wild card round. It was a playoff berth, not a very successful one. Well, I guess if you count the wild card as a playoff berth. And we are eliminated, so that is tough. So we got one more season to try to get this turned around here. We're going to try to see what we need to do, and I'll see you guys at the start of the 3rd season. Final season underway. Rotation still the same. Figured this rotation was really good last year, and hopefully Crochet pitches like an ace. If he does that, I think we're going to make it into a wild card or a playoff again. Again, if you count the wild card as the playoffs, I know some fans do, some fans don't. So technically, I'll say we didn't make the playoffs. We made the wild card. How about that? So I know there's some of y'all might be, mad that I said that. So we didn't technically make the playoffs. We made the wild card. Hunter Harvey, we ended up re-signing. That's about it for the bullpen. I think we got still a solid bullpen. And we got Michael Kopech we re-signed. Gary Sanchez we brought back. Thought he had a really good year last year. Pete Alonso, hopefully he bounces back. We need him to hit for power, at least give us 30 home runs. Gavin Sheets, another guy we're hoping continues to pick it up with the home runs. Gleyber Torres at second. Eugenio Suarez will be our 3rd baseman. Didn't have a big power year last year, but maybe he bounces back here and gives us a little bit of pop. Contact versus lefties is really good. Corey Julks will probably be playing a little bit more off the bench. Colson Montgomery, our shortstop. Eloy Jimenez in left. Luis Robert and Tyler O'Neill. So our team's looking pretty much the same besides Suarez. But hey, we made the wild card last year. Hopefully our bullpen improves a little bit when it comes to ERA, and I think we'll have another wild card or maybe postseason berth. We'll have to see, so I'll see you guys at the trade deadline. For Trevor Rogers from the Miami Marlins, he's not having a great year, but he's definitely an upgrade over Woodford and Touki Toussaint in that 5th starter spot. So we're going to go ahead and make this deal. Trade deadline. How about us right now? 65 and 45, 2.5 games behind the KC Royals for the 1st spot. Didn't expect us to have, honestly, this good of a record. I ain't going to lie to y'all. I thought we were going to be better, but I didn't think we'd be 20 games over. So let's say everybody's been performing. Eloy Jimenez has been fantastic. 17 home runs, 46 runs batted in, 287 average. Hell of a year so far. Gleyber's been great. I mean, the power just hasn't been there with the Chicago White Sox so far, but been hitting for good average and driving in runs. Tyler O'Neill's been awesome as well. 20 home runs, 55 RBIs, 268 average. About where his numbers were last year. Pete Alonso's bounced back. Not the most impressive numbers right now, but still he's going to hit probably 30 home runs, and we needed it so far. Gary Sanchez has been, again, hitting for power, hitting solid average. Colson Montgomery starting to click at the plate, 14 home runs, 52 RBIs, 260 average. Eugenio Suarez, not the greatest pickup in the world, hasn't really produced. Dominic Fletcher's really got back to hitting for average, 6 home runs, 35 RBIs, 310 average. Corey Lee, we have DHing, which that's interesting, I can say. He's having a good year as well, 8 home runs, 270 average. Corey Julks not really doing too much so far this year. Jacob Gonzalez, one of our top prospects, has been pretty solid so far in limited plate appearances. And Nick Allen hitting for average as well. So our lineup's been really spectacular besides Suarez. So that's good to see. We look at the pitching rotation. Garrett Crochet has been great. 3.36 ERA, 7-8 record. Dustin May, how about him since he's gotten to Chicago? Man, 13-6, 2.01 earned run average. Chris Paddock, solid season, 3.77 earned run average. Walker Buehler has been a great addition as well the last 2 seasons, 2.98 earned run average this season. And then Trevor Rogers just hasn't really had it going yet this season. Hopefully he gets it going for hopefully a playoff run. Might actually have to put D.V. Garcia in the rotation because he's been good in 11 innings and move Trevor Rogers to the bullpen for now and see if he can maybe just be a long relief pitcher. Nate Pearson, been good, 2.84 earned run average. A.J. Puck, not what we really expected in the trade with the Marlins. Joe Bartlow has been reliable so far in limited appearances. Tanner Banks, he's been one of our most reliable relievers the last 3 seasons. Michael Kopech, ERA definitely went up a lot. Not a lot, but a pretty good amount. Hunter Harvey, good numbers. Steve Wilson really settled into that closer spot again this season. 23 saves, only blew 3 of them so far. So I look at this team. And, I look at the trade block, and do we go out and get a Zach Neto or something like that? I mean, he's not really having a great season. Brent Rooker. Like, I feel like our lineup's pretty loaded. Like, we can go out and get maybe a Nolan Arenado, but, I really just feel like rocking with this team right now. I mean, they're playing well. I mean, yeah, we can go out and get a bullpen addition maybe, but like this team's really rolling. I really like the way this team's playing. And sometimes I've said this before, you don't want to mess up team chemistry. Obviously, we're not in first place. We're not dominating the division, but we're playing really well as a group. And the thing I forgot to mention, we don't have Gavin Sheets. He's out due to injury. 1 to 2 more weeks. He's been out really most of the season with a shoulder tear. He was having a spectacular season. And we're missing Luis Robert, our best player, arguably, for 1 or 2 more weeks because he fractured his leg. So if we just keep this team as is and get those 2 back and those 2 play like they're capable of playing, I think we really are set the way we are. So I will see you guys at the end of the season. Hopefully we get those guys healthy and make a playoff run. And final regular season is done. We end up winning the division, 94 wins. We went from barely even winning 50 games to winning 94 games in 2 seasons. That is remarkable. And we didn't even really make any major moves to do that. That's what's crazy about it. Like, it's just a good mix of players who have all contributed. So we get our final season in the playoffs. Let's see how everybody did. Luis Robert, listen, he played 91 games, still gave us 17 home runs, 260 average. I'll take that for the limited amount of games he played. Gleyber Torres providing some pop, which is good. 21 home runs, 79 runs batted in. Gavin Sheets with another 20 home run campaign. Tyler O'Neill, another 29 home run campaign. Pete Alonso gave us 30 home runs. What a bounce back season for Pete. Gary Sanchez with 23 home runs. This lineup is just filled with power up and down it. How about Eloy Jimenez, 29 home runs? The most he's had since 2019. Eugenio Suarez didn't really give us the production we hoped, but with this lineup, that's still not bad. And then Jacob Gonzalez, who's filling in for Colson Montgomery, who's out the rest of the season, unfortunately. That's tough news, but he's filling in pretty good. 4 home runs, 14 RBIs, 306 average. Zach DeLoach, pretty solid. Numbers off the bench. Corey Lee, again, providing a little bit of pop. Dominic Fletcher with a good season off the bench as well. And then Nick Allen hitting for average, which is a pleasant surprise. And we look at the bullpen and the pitching rotation. Garrett Crochet was awesome. 3.25 earned run average, 10-9 record, 209 strikeouts. Dustin May was remarkable. No wonder he won the Cy Young. 21-9 record and an ERA of 2.09. Trevor Rogers didn't really pitch well for us. I think we're going to put Garcia in the rotation as well. He moved him out again, which is weird. Walker Buehler with a sensational season, 16-5, 3.12 earned run average. Chris Paddock, down numbers. I mean, ERA is up a lot. Hopefully he could have a good postseason run, though. And then D.V. Garcia in his first season since 2023, 309 earned run average. So he's definitely made his mark. Trevor Rogers, we've already seen his numbers, not great. Nate Pearson bounced back tremendously, 2.86 ERA. Touki Toussaint, really just here to give us some innings. Not great numbers. So let me move Nate Pearson down in the middle relief. AJ Puck, not great. Joe Barlow, not as good as last year, but still a great season. And then Michael Kopech's been very good the last 3 seasons for us. Hunter Harvey, definitely expect a better season. And then Steve Wilson, 35 out of 40 in saves. He's just been one of the best closers in baseball as our closer. So who will we be facing in the first round? We are facing the Texas Rangers. Ignore my voice crack right there, but Texas Rangers. I'm going to send Dustin May on the mound in game 1. He has been our best starter all season. Had the confidence, and as soon as I say that Jurickson Profar, he hits a home run off of him. That is tough. Hopefully our offense can pick him up, though. Rangers getting some offense here against them. 2 more runs score thanks to Duran. So went with our best starter, and it is not paying off so far. 2-run bomb by Carter in his 6th. Now, we got to take him out early. That is not the Dustin May we've seen in the regular season. The Rangers jump on him early and make it 6-0. That is tough. Wow. Didn't expect that. So hopefully Trevor Rogers can at least get us some good quality innings to save the bullpen in this series. Ryan Weathers has been really good out of the pen for them. And in this, or not even out of the pen, he's been their starter, and he's shutting us down. There's a 2-run bomb by Tyler O'Neill, but we hit into a double play after. So we're going to bring in Joe Bartlow here. Not looking good, but he gets out of it. So they bring in former White Sox John Brebbia. Solo shot by Eloy Jimenez makes it a 3-run game. We're going to bring in Michael Kopech here in the top of the 9th. 2-run bomb by Josh Jung. And it is 8-3. Nate Pearson coming in the pitch. He gives up another run, so it's 9-3. Not looking good. Colwyn in the pitch. And he shuts us down. So we lose game 1 of the series. Just not a great debut in this postseason at home. So we're going to bring in Garrett Crochet. Hopefully he can give us a better performance. Rangers already scored 2 early runs thanks to Corey Seager, and then Jonah Heim drives in another. So 3-0. We're facing John Gray. Bases loaded, 1 out, strikeout, and a strikeout. We make an error and a single. 5-0 Rangers here in game 2. They are taking it to our starters in this series so far. John Gray shutting us down. Crochet trying to settle in a little bit here, but it might be a little bit too late. So 5 okay innings, but our offense hasn't really gave him any run support. Tuki Toussaint in the pitch. Can we get some offense in this series? Rangers score again. They get a double play and a ground out. Walk, fly out, strikeout, fielder's choice. So we're going to bring in Hunter Harvey here. Gives up a run, gives up another run. And it is 8-0 Texas. Colwyn in the pitch again. We end up getting 1 run. That's all we're going to get. And then we bring in A.J. Puck. Ends up giving up a 3-run bomb. He's just not looking good either. We're going to bring in Steve Wilson to try to get an out. He finally gets out 11-1. John Brebbia in the pitch, and he shuts us down. So down 2-0 in the series, and we've gotten smoked. It's going to take an incredible comeback to even get back in this series. We might be looking to get swept here in the final season. We're going to put Walker Buehler on the mound against Paul Blackburn. 1, 2, 3 first for him. Rangers don't score in the first. That's a surprise. So Buehler settling in a little bit here. Blackburn's looked great so far as well. There's a leadoff triple. They score a run. Score another run thanks to Profar, and it's 2-0 Rangers. 2 and now 3-0. Solo shot by Nathaniel Lau. Another 2-run score, and man, it is looking bad. And you might need to get the brooms out, ladies and gentlemen. It's looking like a sweep, but we did get 1 run back, but we give it right back up. So we're going to bring in Bartlow. Gives up 2 more runs, another run. It's like everybody we put in is just getting smoked right now. 9-1. Our offense didn't really give us a lot of support, but our pitching has been bad, like overall in this series. We're going to put in Hunter Harvey. Paul Blackburn still in the game. 2-run bomb by luisrobert. Solo shot by Glaber. Man, it is looking. So top of the 9th, they bring in John Brebbia. Walk. Double play and a pop, and we get swept out of the playoffs. That is tough. After a monumental season, we don't show up in the first round. Dodgers win the World Series, and we are swept. So White Sox fans, I think I did better than most of y'all probably expected. We made the playoffs, at least the final season. We made the wild card the second season. A tremendous turnaround for a rebuilding team. I did better with them than I did some of the other teams who are competing now. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this franchise. Make sure to like and subscribe. If you guys are wrestling fans, check out my other channel, xNeWx Wrestling Podcast, in the description below. Peace.